No voice?
Yeah, there it comes. Get volume a little bit louder. As high as it is. Unfortunately, it's as loud as it'll go.
Gee, I wonder who that is. You seem to have accumulated a lot of friends, George. Oh.
Okay, so 27 punishment.
Hmm.
You guys see it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Clearly offside.
Now watch what happens. Okay, watch what he does. Okay, watch him.
Yep.
That coach and I get along really well now. Dave Sarkin, he's an assistant with LA.
I don't know if you can hear what he's saying. On the announcer saying the official made the right call. They don't get credit for making the right calls all the time.
So what happened to the player that punched you?
We sent him off.
Yeah, was he fined or anything?
He was suspended for, let's see, he got fined $5,000 and suspended 6 games, something like that. But a little more than, it's a little more important than that. He was
Sit down again.
Sorry?
They can sit
Oh,
down.
yeah. He's Costa Rican international, and this was in 2005, leading up to the 2006 World Cup. And his coach decided not to take him to the World Cup because he wasn't playing in the first team. Cost him a little more than $5,000.
Yeah.
There's no chance. Costa Rica doesn't go to the World Cup every 4 years. So again, never mind that was me. It's nice that it was me because I have a chance to talk about it from a personal point. But all of the elements of offside were there. So now I'm going to ask you questions. Okay? Element number 1 of being offside. Go on.
Offside.
Sorry?
In an offside position when the ball's kicked.
Offside position when the ball's kicked. Clearly.
Attacking side of the field, actually.
Sorry?
Attacking side of the field.
Attacking side of the field, given in this case, but yes. Okay. How involved in play? Now, here's the point, okay? So now we got to get a little bit more detailed about involved in play. Because involved in play means 2 things, and that's all I'm asking you to do is break it out. Number 1,
You're touching the ball.
bam, perfect, okay?
The ball's gonna be like you would run onto.
So that's part of that whole element, but
If you're impeding someone else's progress to the ball, then
interfering with a defender. Yeah. Perfect. 2 points. Fantastic. Okay. Point number 1, interfering with play. Because it doesn't matter if there are any other defenders around. As soon as I touch the ball, I'm interfering with play. Now, a recommendation for you, because the level changes, the level of involvement, the area of involvement changes with the level of play. Okay? And I don't mean age, I mean level of play. You can have under 14s where the level of play is really spectacular, so the area of involvement is a lot closer to them, right? So here's what I suggest that you do. You take a, kind of draw an imaginary circle around the forward, okay? And the less skill level and the lower age that they are, it's a pretty big circle, right? Because they're probably going to make an attempt at that ball and they're going to interfere with play, right? Most likely. You still have to give them a chance to do it, but it's a pretty big circle. But as that level of play and the age get higher and higher and higher, that circle comes tighter and tighter together. So at the professional level and at the international level, it is almost quite literally touches the ball. Okay? In fact, U.S. Soccer, I think, has even come out and said in some papers, touches the ball. Okay? So fantastic answer. So does that make sense to you about area of play, area of involvement? Right? The younger and less skilled that they are, it's a little bit wider. By the way, this helps you with the parents as well, because by the time the ball's played in and the ball's even remotely close to somebody who's in an offside position, the parents are screaming that they're offside, because you know what you're talking about and they don't. All right? But it still helps you a bit, because they have to get, it's a better chance that they're going to go after the ball in this case. Okay? But as the skill level gets better, you're doing under 16s or under 18s, maybe it's a really competitive game instead of a rec game. That area of involvement gets bigger, so that player stands still and the ball passes by within 2 yards or something, right? Or even if they reach for it and they don't touch it, as long as they're standing all alone and not attracting a defender, then that can be okay if somebody else runs onto it, right? But if it's under 12 or under 10 and there's nobody around, there's a good chance that that's going to be offside no matter what, right? So just an interpretation point, how to apply that a little bit more evenly as the skill level changes, all right? But at the professional level, so when you're watching the FC Dallas, it's almost a touch, okay? If not a touch. We can get in trouble. Monday morning phone calls are brutal. We hate them. But we can get in trouble if a player jumps for a ball and misses the header. If he's all alone and didn't draw the defender to him, then we don't have an excuse, okay? At least if the defender draws with him, we have an excuse to say that the defender interfered with the defense, interfered with the opponent. Right? So those are both clear on there. What else? What else is one of the elements of this one? Those are really the true elements of offside. But what's one of the other big points in this play that that really makes this a difficult decision? There was actually a defender that jumped for the ball, but you're right, nobody else played the ball. But how far did that ball come from? About 40 yards. About 37 yards. 35, 37, something like that. Okay, so now what's the other element that you have to pay attention to as an assistant referee? Where are you focused?
Second to last defender.
Second last defender. Okay, where's the ball coming from?
Way
Up here. So what does that mean? What part of your vision are you using? Peripheral vision. Okay, so I like to do this with people. This is a really quick session about this. Stand up. Stand up, stand up. Okay, so just put both hands out in front of you. Don't hit the person next to you. All right? We've turned this into a clinic. Sorry.
That's okay.
Space yourself out.
So look straight forward. This is where your focus needs to be, right? Okay? Now, keep looking straight forward and just move your fingers to the side slowly and stop when you can't see your fingers anymore. How are we doing? We're doing pretty well. Pretty well. Okay, sit down. Sit down, sit down, sit down. Okay, so there's a point here. There's a point here that in some cases, some of you, your right hand wasn't nearly as far back as your left hand, which in my case is clearly. I mean, that's I can see almost. I can still see my finger right now, and I'm focusing on you. So the point is, I have to know what's going on over here, but my focus is and decision is made here. Okay? So keep that in mind when you're making that decision. The ball comes from a long way away sometimes, or it gets sent all the way to the other side of the field from right near you. A lot of different elements that you have to learn to be able to get a decision like that correct. So back away now from the clinic. We're 20 minutes after 7 already. So questions? Yes, sir. I want questions, by the way. I'm not going to let you sit there and look like a bump along. So.
In that particular play, you were with the second to last defender.
Yeah, I was looking.
And the ball's kicked, the ball's played.
Yeah.
You move down the line with the players as they move back after the ball's kicked, right? Looked like you moved about 5, maybe 6 yards before you threw the flag up.
It wasn't that far, but yes. It wasn't that far, but yes. You have to wait. You can't make that. You can't make the decision until the player touches the ball.
Right.
Okay. So in this case, he clearly touches the ball. He has to in order to be able to score. Okay. But he also commits not only the defender that's running with him, but the goalkeeper. Okay, which makes it even that much more clear. So both of those elements happen, and again, for me, this was really clear. I just did my job. This wasn't that big of a deal until we got chased afterwards, which you kind of know would happen. I mean, I think I was 14 the first time I got chased off the field. So, but in any case, that's a whole nother element of this or a whole other element of this thing is how to deal with the dissent afterwards. I got two-handed, like this by 27. Okay? So again, we sent him off. We probably could have sent off at least one other player. I wish Chad Barrett were here with us. He's in LA. I mean, he plays for LA now, but he and I get along really well right now. He was the other guy that was yelling at me, or one of the other guys. But I did Chicago the following year in Chicago, their new stadium, and I had a bad ankle at the time. I had to go get a weak ankle. I had to go get it wrapped. And I go into their training room to get my ankle wrapped, and guess who's sitting on the bench next to me? This is Chad Barrett. And there's apparently a photo out there. One of the things that I was consciously doing was when they all came at me, I found where the cameras were. Okay? So meanwhile, I know there's a bunch of cameras running this way. Notice I didn't go to the 18. I'm sorry, to the corner flag. Okay? I started to go that way and realized that's not the right way to go because I have no way out down there and I have absolutely no support. So again, I'm lucky, it's a stadium. Right? We have security, even though they did their job and stayed away from us. This is our job on the field at this point. Excuse me. But I realized, not the right direction, go this way. Because the referee's coming from this way, I've got a fourth official who can come help me this way. Even though I might be going back into somewhat of a lion's den, the home team who got the positive result out of this was between me and the other bench too. So I've got a lot of different things going in my favor. My thought was, find the cameras. Find the cameras, because if you can get in front of the cameras, anything that's said is going to be picked up on a microphone. Right? And I know that I never, ever cuss at a player, ever. Right? And I know that they're going to be cussing at me. So I got up a little bit, and that's where we ended up. We ended up in that zone, right, with all the cameras behind us. Well, there's one particular picture out there that Chad is, I mean, apparently it's my head and his head, and he's screaming in my face. And a friend of his had him sign it, and it was, I don't know if it was sold or if it was auctioned or something, but it was on Craigslist or it was on one of those things before. But my brother-in-law wants to get a copy of it, and we can't get it. So, but in any case, so there's a lot of different things here and a lot of different ways to manage the situation that happens from the offside all the way through the end. And so, to your point.
My point was, you kept on moving with the second to last defender and didn't raise the flag until it was several yards past the point where he was actually in an offside position when the ball was played to him. I've seen a lot of referees that will just stay there and not move until they see if the ball's played. The only problem with that is if he doesn't play it, then you're already 5-6 yards behind the second last defender.
Yeah, you have to keep moving, right? You have to move until you make that decision. When you make the decision, then you stop and you're up. Okay, as an assistant referee. As a referee, you have a little more flexibility. But as an assistant referee, you have to keep moving. You have to keep going with that play because you're absolutely right. If he doesn't touch the ball and one of his teammates runs onto that ball, it's not offside. Not necessarily. It could be offside because he's drawn the goalkeeper and the other defender at this point. But there's a possibility where it might not be offside. So you still have to keep going. You can't just stop and wait and see what happens. So, okay, questions?